Aaron Ritchie and Henry Quach are
Big Data Dudes.
And we're live.
We're live and ready to rock. Back in the saddle again, your favorite big data dudes here.
Absolutely. Welcome to our next video. How are you guys doing?
I hope our millions of fans are doing well. This is extremely boring compared to mine. What do you got going on in there? It's like a white wall.
Too much happening. You only see a white wall? Just a boring white wall. I don't have any decorations up here.
Well, there's a lamp there too.
Yeah.
I got all sorts of crazy stuff going in here.
Wow. Rocking it.
Yeah, it's impressive. So Henry, Big Data Dudes, live, unplugged. People know that we like to do fancy things like with explosions, and we like to go to Las Vegas and make actual big data films and all sorts of crazy stuff that most people would never even attempt to do. But in this video, there will be no explosions. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to keep it simple in this video. And what we want to show you guys here today is how to use HDFS commands. And we're just going to show the very basic ones, and then you guys can all figure out how to get up and running with it.
Excellent. I think that'll be really valuable, and we'll try to keep it at a low level, make it interesting for people, and let's jump right into it.
Sounds good.
So let's see here. You know what? How about I share my screen, and let's take a quick look at the HDFS documentation here. Let's see if I can figure this out.
Oh, nice. I can see your screen now.
Okay, perfect. There we go. So right now I'm on the official HDFS documentation pages. This is the HDFS Architecture section. And I just wanted to really quickly, very quickly show a couple pictures. So here's a picture of like the overall HDFS architecture. And all I really want people to know for this is that HDFS is the Hadoop file system. It's basically a file system that's spread over a whole bunch of physical nodes, and they're called data nodes. And we don't need to get into all of the specifics here of name node or things like that. But down here, the kind of the yellow blocks, each one of these is a data node. So imagine that being a physical server. And then there's a whole bunch of little blocks inside of there. And those blocks, let's go down here, represent blocks of data. So in HDFS, pretty much your data gets broken up into little tiny blocks, and it gets replicated. So in this example here, we can see that, say, block one of your data is on this first data node. And then block one is also replicated to another node here. And the replication factor can be adjusted, and it provides a lot of kind of I guess security to your data, in the sense that if one node dies, you don't lose all of your data. That's my quick blurb. What do you have to add to that, Mr. Quach?
Yeah, well, that's a great overview for sure. One thing we want to remember is with HDFS, we're using commodity hardware, and commodity hardware is nice and cheap and plenty. So when we're dealing with big data, we want to have a high number of these nodes out there so that if something were to fail, we have backups readily available for us.
That's a great point. Definitely. So with that said, we can manipulate HDFS using a variety of commands. And why don't you walk us through some of those, sir?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go ahead and share my PuTTY window here. Yeah, so basically I set up an instance on Bluemix, and I provisioned it. I used PuTTY to SSH directly into it. I've logged in already here. So briefly, I wanted to show everyone, how to view the listing of HDFS, run through some basic commands, and then also get files to and from the HDFS into the local file system that is on the server. So with that said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, there's two ways to run HDFS commands. There's the Hadoop FS, that's one method, and there's another command also synonymous. It's called HDFS DFS. I'll be showing that particular command, but essentially either commands will run the HDFS functions that you need to. So HDFS, DFS, and then you usually will follow that by a type of command. So in this case, I want to do a listing of the root directory on HDFS.
Okay. Sounds good.
So here's a simple listing here. I mean, you see permissions, the users, the groups, and all the other information of that particular directory. But let me go in further to a directory within the users folder to see what's inside there. You take it one level further and go into the BDD, Big Data Dudes directory.
Nice. I like the name.
And what I did earlier was create just a sample text file, not a text file, but a sample data file, BDD-data. And one thing I want to point out here is the replication factor. BDD-data has a replication factor of 3. And that essentially means the data itself is replicated across 3 different nodes. That way, if something were to fail, there's a recovery option available. 3 is the default replication factor. If you need to change it for your particular environment, you can do that. Obviously, we're using the default values here at 3. All right. Okay, so next thing, let's take a quick look at how to copy a file into HDFS. So let me go into my local Linux file system here, okay?
Sure. Now, Henry, so we didn't really touch on this too much. We didn't really even use the word Hadoop yet that much, but why would you want to copy a file in HDFS? Like, what might you do with a file that you put in HDFS? What's like a couple examples?
Yep, that's a great question. So what we're trying to do is once the files are on the HDFS system, you can write a script or a job that can process and analyze that data. But if you have it on the Hadoop file system, you can easily put the functions and the methods to it, and they'll be able to generate results. And good example, simple example, in fact, would be a word count. If you want to do a word count of maybe like a large textbook to see which words are more frequently used, for your analysis, you can load that data into HDFS and then run your jobs on it.
Nice. So you could use Spark to process data on HDFS and a whole bunch of other Hadoop tools.
Exactly. Once you get it onto HDFS, I mean, the open source world is at your disposal. There's any kind of tools you want to use readily available.
Excellent.
Okay. So now I went into my local system and I created a simple hello world.txt just as an example. Obviously, you can have any number of files. Let's go ahead and copy this file. Into where I created my Big Data Dudes directory earlier. So the command is pretty straightforward, right? If you take a look at this, it's HDFS DFS, or if you want, you can use Hadoop FS, and then followed by the command. So this put command, what it does is it takes this file from the local directory and places it onto the HDFS directory.
Nice. Now, when you do that, like behind the scenes, HDFS is probably like splitting up the file appropriately and replicating it to different data nodes and stuff like that, right?
Right, exactly. As the end user, you don't have to worry about all these information. It just automatically, because you're using this file system, it takes care of all that for you, and everything's done transparent to the user.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's take a quick look to make sure we actually have it on there. So I'm just going to do a listing again. Okay. All right, we see the hello world.txt file, the first entry on the listing there. Now I want to show the reverse. If we wanted to copy or grab a file from HDFS into our local system, let's say we run a MapReduce job and it generates the results for us. Now we want to bring the results maybe back to our local system, for distribution, or maybe we have a spreadsheet application that we want to run with the results. We can bring it back down. So let me show you guys how to do that. Now the opposite of the put command is the get command, and you just specify the HDFS file. And I'm going to bring it down into the home directory of my user ID. Okay, you can
Oh,
see
yeah.
that the BDD-data has been brought down.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Henry, you made that look extremely easy.
It is not that complicated, but if you are comfortable with commands and typing, then that's certainly the option for you to go.
Nice. Now, so that looked easy, but for everyone who knows me, it wasn't quite easy enough. So I have something to show you next.
That's
now
perfect.
turn that screen share over to me, and I will show you something. All right.
I like that.
Here we go. Share screen. All right, we'll go over here. So, as you know, I've been loving playing around with the IBM Bluemix. I have a big insights cluster set up. I literally set it up with like one click of a button. And right now I'm logged into Ambari, which if you haven't fiddled around with this stuff, it's like a graphical interface that lets you do all sorts of things with your Hadoop cluster. And inside of Ambari, I found that there is a files browser. Let me click into that. Let's see, did I click the right thing? I will click again. There we go. All right.
There it is.
Now I got to click. Check this out. So this is an HDFS files browser, and you basically can just navigate right through your HDFS file system. So in my example, I have a directory called user, and I created a user named big user, and I have a /user/big user directory on here in HDFS. And you can see the name of the different files or directories that I have in here, how large they are. All these are directories, so we don't see any size yet here. We can see who owns it, the group that owns it, and so on. And to upload a file, all I have to do is click this button here, select some test data, and press upload. And bam, look, there it is. I can see the size of the file, and I can click on this file and get a little a sample of the data. Here we go.
Wow.
The big data dudes rule. The big data dudes are exceptional. The big data dudes are really funny, especially that Aaron guy. Aaron clearly made this sample data file. Excellent. And then to download this thing, all you have to do is click download file, and you could download it to your local file system. So
wow.
Let's see what else we can do here.
Yeah, that was really
move
easy.
it around.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. We can delete it. We can move it around. We can create new directories and stuff like that. So I really kind of like that. Now it's not going to work for a lot of like tools. It's like you can't really use this with Spark per se, like inside of like, code or something like that. But it's useful just to play around with and check out stuff and download things and upload some things. So let me stop that share there. And I think that was all the excitement that we had for today. What do you think?
Yeah, I hope you guys learned something. Definitely, if you want to see additional topics covered, comment in our video. I think that's something we will definitely take into consideration and make new videos for it.
Excellent. Appreciate it, folks. We'll see you all soon.
All right, Big
Till
Data
next
Dudes,
time.
signing off.